Welcome to an all-new season of The Office Corner. Haven't seen me for a minute, but that's only because I've been kind of in my little shell. So when you do see The Office Corner, you did see me, but now I'm back, not going anywhere. This is our 15th year, and I'm still going strong. In fact, we're going to have stronger shows this year. A lot of good things coming up this season. I'll let you know what's going on. We have a brand new My Two Cents segment that's coming today. Today I'll be talking about the word allegedly. We'll get into that here in a little bit. And I'll bring to you two brand new interviews. I actually have a mother and a daughter, separate interviews. First, we're going to bring on Nicole Bradley. We're going to be talking about relationships, making candles, being an author, being an author, just so many different things. Next, we're going to talk to her daughter, Halle Bradley. She's a college student. She just graduated high school last year. She's got so much going on. This is a lost interview because when I did interview her, she was about to go to Full Sail University. So, excuse me again. So you'll get to know her as well. Keep it locked here because AC Campbell is back. The shows are back. My Two Cents is back. You'll see that every week now. It's just so many things going on that I can't wait for you to be a part of. But when we come back, we'll start with our interview with Nicole Bradley. First off, we're going to have our conversation with Nicole Bradley. We're going to talk about candle making. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about so much about books and things like that. I interviewed her before, so we're going to do a lot of catching up. And it's going to be a pretty powerful interview. So without further ado, here's the interview. What's been going on since we last spoke?
Since we last talked, I now live in Orlando, Florida, the most magical place on earth. So I get to create magical candles because I'm at the most magical place on earth. The writing is magical. I have a new company, the Nicole Bradley Experience, where we do the massage candles. We got a running joke. Once you massage that oil into your skin, we are not responsible. So don't send us the emails. You can let us know what you named the little bundle of joy, but we're not responsible for nothing else. We are not.
You know, we talked a little bit about that last time too. It's and yes, we are adding a disclaimer. Do not email this lady. Don't write this lady. She cannot be responsible for what her candles do to you all.
Right. Yeah. So our bestseller is Forbidden Fruit. It's been our bestseller for the past 2 years, with a close run to First Date. And then we have some new ones, Unbothered. That has been my mood for the last year and a half or so. I am so unbothered. And then we just brought out a new one this summer called Find Something Safe to Do. So we're just having fun creating candles. Oh, we got a candle line for guys, and I also create for other people. So one of my clients has a candle line for guys, and HD, when I tell you, it is off the chain. I was in here one day looking for Bay, like, where you at? And then I was like, oh, you don't have a Bay right now. So and so I play in the oil, but when I go out, especially if I'm playing in the male fragrance, I have to make sure I wash all that off because if I walk by a potential bae, he's gonna be like, oh no, she done been hugged up, booed up with somebody. She is unavailable.
So if I got some of those, I need to be very careful. Extremely
Very
careful
careful.
outside of my household.
Yeah, because it's they're really nice fragrances. Funny story, my ex, because I created a fragrance for him, and he lives maybe about 2 hours away. He's like, my fragrance, can I get my fragrance? I'm like, heck no, because that's a lady magnet, no. He's like, I gotta have my fragrance because you know how I do. I was like, unfortunately, I do know how you do. And so, but my petty self did go ahead and make it for him so he could be my walking billboard.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Before we end our interview, we're gonna have to get to where we can buy your fragrances and everything. So toward the end, we'll get to that. Before we begin, before we go back, what prompted the move to Florida?
My family is here, and my youngest daughter, Halle, is attending Full Sail University in Winter Park, which is about 30-minute drive from Orlando. And so I said, well, I need to get out the cold winters. I need to experience that sunshine state. So I said, let me go. And it's been an amazing journey. It's been an amazing move. And there's a resort here. I think it's called Perpetual Summer. And so it's never ending summer. And I love it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. Well, in addition to the candles, we've also been talking about rebranding books and getting more of your books out. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes, I am rebranding and redoing some of the earlier publications that I had out. So there's a series with characters Malachi and Nairi. So I'm redoing Love Don't Live Here Anymore, Chaotic Bliss. My very first book, I am redoing Contradictions. And I've redone, and so now it's available, the Divas Assessment Guide, Girl Please. Ooh. Now, this book was released in 2009, and I kept getting emails at the end of spring saying the dating pool is contaminated. So what you guys mean? Because I put myself in timeout. I'm not dating. I put myself in timeout. But they said it's contaminated. And I have actually pulled the original not to be sold anymore. So the original wasn't available. And people said, you got to bring it back. I said, well, okay, I'll bring it back. But we, of course, redid the cover. The content is the same. Now, my oldest daughter is 24, and she never had a copy of it because she was little then. She said, the book is on point. So, yeah, we want to help, with the dating thing. And I used to do individual therapy and group therapy, and I have a degree in criminal justice, so I understand a lot of behavior, and I joke a lot. But very seriously, what I know about relationships is if you go into the relationship and you're not clear about who you are as a person and what it is that you want, have those non-negotiables, what you will accept, what you won't accept, you're already doomed. And I found out that a lot of people are going into these relationships and they're not asking questions. They're not asking the right questions. And so when I originally published this book, it was, I was married at the time, but I was seeing things going on in interpersonal relationships. I started thinking about, because I would see the mistakes and I'm like, I made that same mistake. And I'm like, if I tell somebody, hey, you could avoid going down all these bumpy roads if you do blah, blah, blah. And I kept seeing it over and over. I'm like, let me help somebody not marry my ex. So let me put together some things. But I was teaching high school at the time, and I was seeing a lot of things going on with young people. And I said, wait a minute. So initially, I'm thinking, okay, this would be geared to younger females that are dating. I don't care. It's across the board. The mistakes are across the board. And there are some things that are so sad, HD. I was watching this movie the other day and it made me think about this book as well. The girl in the movie, she was dating this guy. It was a casual fling thing. And she didn't know the guy's real name. Like if they called him Ray Ray or Bobo or something, that's all she knew him by. And I'm like,
I'm gonna cut you off, but he was in a relationship and didn't know his real name.
that's all she was calling him.
Oh wow!
And
Go ahead.
and I saw this happen when I was teaching high school with a student of mine. She had been, now I don't know how serious the relationship was, but that's one of the other things I talk about in the book. Once you cross over that line and it gets intimate, the lines get blurred. So you gotta figure out what's what before you do the do. So she had gotten intimate with this guy and gotten pregnant by him and wasn't really sure because all she knew was his street name. And I'm going like, you got to be kidding me. And she wasn't. And I'm like, you never saw his driver's license. You know, like if I meet somebody and he's like, oh, they call me Ray Ray. Okay, they call you Ray Ray, but the first thing I'm gonna know is what's your real name? And why didn't that conversation happen? And why is this repetitive that I'm seeing over and over as a trend? They call him, but you laid down with this man and you telling me they called him. What do you call him? What do you know him as?
And see, maybe I'm just old school, but I guess maybe if I'm gonna lie down with you, I'm gonna know I'm gonna know at least the basics about you, if not anything.
Yeah, I'm just like, this was 2009. I was seeing these trends, but here it is, 2024. I'm still seeing some of the same things, and I'm like, as time goes on, we're supposed to evolve. We're supposed to get better. Decision making is supposed to be better, and this isn't about education, socioeconomics. I'm seeing it in various ways, and I'm going like, this is unreal. But also, there's certain questions and things that I feel you need to know, you know? And some of these people are getting involved with people who are seedy characters that they normally wouldn't. You didn't ask, they didn't tell.
And see, and I'll tell you this, your book, I'm seeing that book right now is very much so needed. Because see, I didn't know. See, again, you mentioned high school. That's some of the same stuff happened when I was in high school. So times still haven't changed.
Yeah, and then now you're seeing it in young adults, you know, 20s. I can't speak to 30s, but I'm seeing this in the 20 range. But then there are other things that I'm seeing that are problems. And I think, and somebody's gonna be upset, but that's okay. I have this phrase: if I ring your doorbell, you can open it, or you can look through the peephole and act like you're not there. You do one or the other. But you can't wait till it's too late to ask questions. You know, and you gotta ask questions and understand who you're dealing with. once that intimacy gets involved, those waters get murky, and then people feel like they can't ask questions. Now, I'm from a totally different vein because I've been an individual therapist and a group therapist and a teacher. If I want to know, I'm just going to ask you. Now, what? What did you say? Now, because, and if I think it's a lie or I find something contradicting, I'm going to call you on that too. Now, you said there's one of my favorite movies is Menace to Society. And
yes.
I won't use profanity on your show, but there's the part where the cop is asking, he's like, now you said, first you said, now you said, now you know you done.
My favorite part.
So I'm the same way. Like, you said this one day, but now you're saying this. Wait a minute, which is it? And you got to ask questions for clarity. One of the other things that the book does is it's very easy to ask yes or no questions. That's an easy thing. Ask questions that's going to make somebody have to have a conversation, that's going to make them have to explain. Because sometimes when you realize somebody's thought process is off, you be like, oh, no, I can't, interact with this type of person because of the way that they think. But if you're asking simple yes or no questions, you're not getting too much. So you got to ask some of those, I like to call them hard questions. Like, when I go out to eat now, I don't even want an appetizer. Just come on with the meal. Like, meat and potatoes, me. Don't give me all that bread and stuff. No. So
I guess I'm an open book to the point where we got a question asked. There's no such thing as hard questions for me. Because unless it's something like deep rooted personal, like a family death or something, or there are no such things as hard questions for me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can ask.
Sometimes I get that people will say that's a hard question. I'm not getting ready to sugarcoat. If I need to know something, I need to know. I don't have time to waste.
Right.
So let's get this out the way, And so, yeah.
So, but the only people that would think it's a hard question or so, because I've actually seen this before, only people that actually think it's really a hard question, or they'll get upset at the question, or people with things to hide. More than likely.
I like that. I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
Because like my wife, like I've said, that's how we got to each other. I'm an open book. There's nothing you can't ask me. There was nothing you could not know about me. If there's anything that I didn't tell you, and you find out, ask. I will tell you. And because I talk a lot anyway, so if there's anything I missed, still ask, and you're gonna get an explanation out of me. So
yeah.
But it's all about that communication, though. That's what it's all about.
It is. You have to have that communication. And one of the things I tell people, even in relationships and what have you, sometimes we're drawn to people for their outward appearance. Time and chance is going to happen to all of us, So when you're with that person for X amount of years, they of course are not going to look the same way that they looked when you first met them. If you end up growing old and vintage with them, and you've been together since your 20s, they don't look the same. So if that's what was the drawer, what are you gonna do when the looks fade?
Exactly.
And I just can't imagine sitting somewhere and not being able to have a communication. Or if that intimacy, because as you get older, they say, I don't know, but they say sometimes that fades. So, if that's a keeper and that's gone, then what? So I'm a firm believer. You got to be able to have something to connect with, talk about, communicate, something in common, because after a while certain things, you could even look at somebody and have thought they were super fine last year, and this year you like Yeah, your taste buds change. Literally, if your taste buds in your mouth change every so often, then maybe your visual, what you're attracted to, changes. And so then what, you know? HD, I wrote a poem. I am not a poet, but I wrote a poem in this book, and I would love to
want to hear it. So you can't mention it and not give it to me. Go ahead. I'm ready.
All right. So I'm no poet. So this is one of the few poems I've ever written. It's called I Wonder. I often ask the question, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? I wonder if you leave that dead-end job and aspire for more. I wonder if you leave that no good man, the one who comes in at 4 a.m. Oh, you know, the one with no future, no plan, nothing to offer other than tears. You know, the one you've been with for years. I wonder if you make things happen as opposed to letting things happen. I wonder if you step up and be all that God has called you to be. I wonder if you'll wake up and refuse to take this anymore. Or are you willing to continue to accept the status quo? Now, I know some people are going to be like, oh my gosh, don't do that. That is for the people who keep settling. That's not everybody's relationship. So that is my disclaimer. But that is for people who keep settling day in, day out, year after year, because I hear it a lot of times. I can't believe he came in at 4 a.m. I can't either. I'm mad for you. I'm mad with you. And
then I'm also mad that you keep tolerating it. So
right.
It's about making that next step. What are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do? And so I decided to write the poem to, maybe push somebody's button, because sometimes when you hear it another way, you're like, oh, that's crazy. And then you're like, wait a minute, that sounds like my situation.
Because I understood the poem greatly. It's like, what are you going to do? You can't do A, B, and C unless you make that first move. Yes. That first move may involve leaving that dead-end job. It may involve stop letting that fool come in at 4 o'clock in the morning. Hey, something's gonna have to happen.
Yes. Yeah. And it also goes back to having your non-negotiables. Hey, so-and-so, if that's what you like doing, that's fine, because you're grown. I can't tell you what to do and what not to do. I can just tell you I'm not going to accept that, and that's not going to be good here. So, if that's what you do, fine. You just can't do it here. Right. I'm going to remove myself from the equation, because I might be the problem. So let me take myself out, and there's somebody who may be okay with that. I'm just not okay with it. But I really feel, and this book is for divas, but for guys too, because I know it's not just a one-sided thing where it's guys always messing up. Hear me, I'm not saying that, but this book is for the divas. Y'all got to get a dude out there to make something for you all. But
well, I'm just gonna say this, and I'm saying this for the fellas. The problem with this book, and it's not really a problem for real, the problem with this book is if everyone reads the book, they'll find a part of themselves in the book. The problem is a made-up problem, because they'll see divas and they'll think you're man-bashing, when all you have to do is just pick it up and you'll see a part of yourself, man or woman, in this book.
Yeah.
That's why the book is important.
I had a guy come and purchase a book. And I said, well, why are you purchasing a book? Like, what are you going to do? Like, I'm going to sell it to you anyways, but I'm just curious. And he says, I want to understand what women are thinking, and so that I can know how to act accordingly and treat a woman. Maybe I haven't been open to that perspective, because, of course he was a guy, but to see. And I said, oh, that's really cool.
we as guys have a lot to learn about women. I'm not one of those guys to say I know everything there is to know about women, especially being married. I'm still learning about women every single day. So, and I don't want to, and I'm also the type of person, I don't mind being taught. So if there's anything I need to be taught, let me read it and find out.
Yeah, and so it's more a journal you write in there or whatever. And I put it together like this because once you do the research and you write things and you go and you read it, is there's something with that writing, hand-eye coordination in the brain where things begin to make sense. Or you look at it and you like, this don't sound right. Wait a minute, type of thing. So it's not something that you're rushing to get through. You want to make sure that you're with the individual that's going to be right for you. I had with my book Love Don't Live Here Anymore, the couple Malachi and Nairi, they were a married couple, very chaotic. And this lady, she had read the book and she wanted to get married. The guy she was living with didn't want to get married. They'd been living together seven they've been together 7 years or 10 years. I can't remember which one, but that's enough years. He was adamant that he didn't want to get married. She wanted to be married, but she said by the time she got to the end of the book, she ended up leaving the relationship because she realized as much as she wanted to be married, he didn't want to be married and it wasn't going to happen. And she was really a little salty with herself for letting all that time go by. Now, she wasn't deceived, though. He never promised her anything as far as marriage. She wasn't deceived, but I think somewhere in the back of her mind, she was thinking, one day he's going to change his mind. And she finally got the revelation he wasn't going to change his mind. And she decided that she wasn't going to settle for that anymore. So sometimes there are those hard revelations you come to, but when you get there, like I said, when the doorbell rings, you got a choice. Either you're gonna open the door or you're gonna look through the peephole and act like nobody on the other side, but you got to do something.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you like this before I move on to the next question. That book, I don't even know why. I don't know if you start putting. You said you're gonna have to read. You said you did a reboot of the book, correct?
Yeah, and it's available on Amazon now.
Okay, because I don't even. My whole thing is that book is important. So I mean, and I'm serious. For anyone in the relationships, I don't care from 14 to 40. If you have, I mean, if you want a relationship, you want to get in a relationship, having problems with your relationship, whatever's going on, I will suggest this book. So besides that book, what else have you been working on?
I'm also working on my first novel that I brought out, Contradictions. So I'm rewriting that. I'm having fun with that. That one came out in 2003. So it'll still have the same setting, same characters. I am taking a chunk of characters out because as you grow as a person, you realize things. And so when I wrote Contradictions, I just wanted to write and tell stories. And what happened was there were multiple stories in the book. So I'm pulling a section out because it does not relate to the main story. It's a real cute story, but it's not relevant to the story. And so for me, that took a level of maturity to say, hey, you know what? This is a good story, but it don't belong here. So I'm pulling that out. And I'm going back and just are you familiar with Popeye's chicken? I'm sure you are.
Oh yes.
The Cajun sparkle flavor that you can get. So I'm going through and putting my Cajun sparkle on this. Yeah. So I'm going through.
You see, you try to get me to review all your books, which I am.
So, and then I have Love Don't Live Here Anymore. That was my first book in the Malachi and Nairi series. So I'm going back, just dropping some Cajun sparkle and pulling out anything that's not moving the story. And then Chaotic Bliss. That is my last one of the year, probably. Chaotic Bliss. I had so much fun with that because it was a lot of chaos. And just really gonna go back and see, because I really want that tone, because it's book 2 in the series. I'm not doing book 3. I'm perfectly fine with book 3, his wife, but those first two, really trying to make sure that that energy is the same. Love Don't Live Here Anymore is a lot more mellow than Chaotic Bliss. So I think I got to pump Love Don't Live Here Anymore up just a tad bit so that it can flow into that Chaotic Bliss energy. But I'm having fun writing. My gifts are writing. This is my number one gift. And the other one is creating candles and peaceful environments. So it's always fun over here. Like, which lab will I be in today? Will it be the writing lab or the candle lab? And I can't do both on the same day. Those are two different energies. The candles are very, very peaceful. When you start writing some of these characters and getting into their things, sometimes it can get a little, you know, and so I can't bring that to candles because, one, I treat my candles like a chef treats food. So I believe that you're supposed to cook with love. So I'm supposed to make those candles with love. So we don't need that boom boom energy that you're gonna get from writing. And the other thing, HD, I did a couple weeks ago, I'm always trying to multitask. And I think that's probably everybody's thing. So you're working on something, but you're thinking like 3 hours ahead. Now, what am I going to do next, or the next project, or what have you? So I'm not paying attention as I'm making candles, because once you get into it, it's kind of like an automatic thing. And so I'm stirring and everything. And I don't know if I'm the only person that does this. I'm pretty sure I'm not. But I'm trying to test the fragrance. And so I'm hovered over the pot like this. And as I'm hovered over the pot touches my face. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Because the wax gets pretty hot, like when at its hottest, when I'm doing it, and usually when I'm paying attention, I've never gone to 200 degrees, but like 180 degrees, I'm like, did you just put 180 degrees metal pot on your face? What are you thinking? I'm like, why would you put your whole face down in that pot? Like, you could smell it. But it was just, for me, a moment of where I was saying, you got to pay attention. Whatever you're doing, you have to be in the moment. Because I'm like, that could have been tragic. Like, it touched my face, but that could have been a serious burn. I could have been permanently scarred, and people would have said, what is that? I'd have been like, this is my candle brand right here. I'm in a sorority. I never got a brand. The guys in the frat, some of them got brands, and that would have been my brand on my job. Talking about, I'm in the Nicole Bradley candle experience gang.
So from what you're telling me, all these candles are pretty potent. They smell really good. Tell me a little bit more about, let's recap. What got you started with candles?
What got me started with candles? I've always liked candles. I used to sell candles for various companies as a side hustle. And then I went to massage therapy school, and I was doing what's called an externship as opposed to an internship, but same thing. You'd have to get hours working in the spa so that you could get your certification for massage. So I go to this lady's spa, and I felt that She was racist and didn't want me in her spot. And she told me up front, you're not going to work on my customers. But that's why I'm here because I have to get the hours. She said, I'm going to sign off for you to get the hours for what you need for your school. But no, I'm not letting anyone work on my clients. And I thought that's really crappy. Like, why would you agree to the school that you're going to let people come in and then not let them do what you said you were going to let them do? So I was getting really, really angry and upset. I had to be there for 8 hours and I had taken off from my main job. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not liking this. And I thought because we were of different racial backgrounds, maybe it was a racial thing. I felt it was racism. But then she said, I'm going to show you how your customers and your clients can take the spa experience home with them because everybody leaves feeling really, really good, but they want to keep that feeling with them. And so it's like, okay, back of my mind, I'm like, this lady trying to run game on me. I'm like, but don't act a clown because you need her to sign up. So she set me up in her her kitchen of her spa, and she taught me how to make body scrubs that day. She taught me how to make lotions that day. And then we talked about candles and making candles. And I said, hmm, never thought about it really in that moment. But years later, I thought about it and I took the knowledge that I gained from her and I started my company, Tranquil Bliss, and
Mm-hmm.
now with the Nicole Bradley experience. So what felt like something that was really unfair at the time, and I really did think it was a racial thing. It could have been. I don't know. I could have been just in my feelings, but I stopped harping on that and I said, look at the blessing in it. She didn't want you to touch her clients that day. You didn't touch her clients, but you learned something back in that was 2005. Here it is 2024 and I run the Nicole Bradley experience every day. Every day I get up, I decide, do I want to do candles today? Do I want to go in the writing lab today? Do I want to do educational consults? I was a teacher, I worked with the special needs population, and so I also do educational consults where I work with parents to make sure that they get the best services for their children in public school. I'm a firm believer as a parent, you are your child's first teacher. You're also their biggest cheerleader and their biggest advocate. If you don't advocate for your children, somebody will. I'm not gonna say nobody will because I said that a lot of times to the parents just to get a little stir out of them, to put a little fire under them so that they will speak up. They'll leave a meeting and say, the way they talk to me was, oh, you had a problem with the way they talk to you? But you sat there and you laughed, you said nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So they think you were okay with it. So if you don't say anything, I'm also like that about medical. You go to the doctor runs all this stuff, tell you all what they're gonna do, and then you're paying for it, and you go for it. You don't know why they're doing this.
And ask
No,
you
you gotta
questions.
speak
Right.
up and
Mm-hmm.
advocate for yourself. If
Right.
you don't, you're not going to get what you need. So I'm very passionate about working with parents to make sure that their children, especially special needs children, get the services that they need in the school. One of the things I'm also passionate about, sometimes the services that are needed are not always comfortable for everybody. Sometimes it means you might have to do a little extra work, or it might cost you 10 extra minutes or something. We're not asking for anything outrageous. Sometimes it's just a matter of what you've always been doing. Because I taught school for 20 years. What I did in 2001 when I first started teaching, no way can fly in 2024. So you have to change with the times, you have to adjust. And sometimes change isn't bad. But if you're used to always doing something, change, you don't want to change. But
Right.
we're doing what's best for children. And so I'm very passionate about that and helping parents. And so I'm not there to be an agitator because sometimes people like, oh, she can ready to cause trouble. No, I'm not gonna cause trouble if what we have is working. Now, if it's not working and it's not in the best interest of the child, then it may feel like I'm ruffling feathers, and I don't mean to. But and even with the parents, because sometimes I have to say, hey, this is your child, but this might mean that you have to spend an extra 15 minutes per day to help them because I'm also a firm believer, and I don't care what the disability is. I believe that people will always rise to the occasion. If you set a bar here for me and you tell me, hey, I believe you can do that, me, I'm just believing you. You believe I can reach that bar? I'm gonna try to reach the bar because you said you believe that I can do it. Now, if you put the bar down here, I'm like, and you like, oh, I think that's the best you can do, then and I'm like, oh, I definitely got that. This is not gonna take any energy or effort. So I feel like children are the same way, regardless if they have a disability or an issue or something like that. They always really want to have limits and things put in place to achieve. Now, if we're giving them low level things and not pushing them, then I kind of look at it as that's our fault as adults. I really do think, and I'm not saying they achieve it day one. I'm not saying that, but maybe after day 10, they can achieve it. But if we don't provide them with experiences and opportunities to stretch and grow, then they're not going to stretch and grow. And the other thing is, I don't know how many people want their grown children living with them the rest of their life. But, I mean, for people who are okay with that, like I always tell my kids when they got grown, hey, you might have to, call me on my cell phone or text me because I'll probably be traveling the world or on a Winnebago somewhere or what have you. But if you don't prepare them to be independent, then they might be in the Winnebago with you. And I'm a
Exactly.
single lady, so I don't think that's gonna work when I get a baby.
Well, as a newly empty nester myself, I definitely yes.
Yeah.
I taught mine to be independent. The last one is gone, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it feels good. Like, Tony, 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 it feels good. But yeah, you can come visit. Of course, the door is always open, but you want them to go out and experience and they're gonna, bump their head. Hey, we bumped our head, but we okay.
Yep. Oh yes. Most definitely. But my next question for you is: you have so much going on between the kids and the candles and the books. How do you balance it all?
I have, and I don't have it with me right here, but I have a Nicole Bradley self-care planner.
Oh,
And I put things in my planner. So I like to plan my days. I like I talked about in that poem earlier, are you gonna let things happen or are you going to make things happen? And for
mm,
me, if I don't plan my day, things happen. And I don't like a lot of chaos. I don't have to have uber structure, but I do kind of like to know what I'm doing, what's going on, what's the game plan, what's the goal. There's been only 1 week, I'm proud to say this, and I wasn't on vacation, but there was 1 week I did not use my planner and it felt really icky. Out of the year, it was chaos and I didn't like it. And so when I got to the end of the week, I said, I will never have another week like that. And so my friend, that's a guy, said, so your week was like that. What did you accomplish? I said, I didn't accomplish anything. He said, what did you do? I said, I didn't do anything. He said, and you were at home? I said, I was at home. He said, 5 days, nothing happened. I was like, yeah, I said this already. Like, why are we going through that? He said, well, if that was the case, you could have been on vacation. I
mm-hmm.
said, Man, you are absolutely right. Like if I was gonna have a week of not doing anything, solely chilling, I could have been on vacation. I wasn't on vacation. I couldn't account for those hours, I had nothing to show for it. I said I will never have another week like this again. Now I know some people they're like, "Oh, I just like to fly by the handle," and I don't know how you guys do it because it made me feel really, really bad. I was sad. I was kind of angry, and the one thing, a lot of things you can get back in life, you can't get back time, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I had nothing to show for it, and I didn't like that. Now, if I choose to say, hey, I'm going to spend this time doing this absolutely nothing, I'm going to watch Netflix, I'm going to binge watch, like, I still accomplished something because I binge watched, right? But just the all that time is just gone and there's nothing, and you can't say, well, at least I did. I couldn't say at least I did anything. And like I said, I live in the most magical place on the earth. I wasn't even at Disney. you know,
See?
I wasn't at the pool. I had nothing, at least I could say I was at the pool. I was outside getting vitamin D, look at my beautiful teeth. Nothing. I accomplished nothing and I didn't like it.
Look, you you and I are like in this way. We got to keep moving. We got to keep doing something. If we're not doing something. We're not. We're. I mean, we're not productive. If we're not productive, we're gonna feel bad.
Yeah, yeah. Because I feel like every day that you get up is a gift, you know? And so I almost felt like it was. I felt like a whole week. One day I could have probably been like, okay, that's cool. But a whole week, that's disrespectful to God. That's disrespectful, you know? And I'm like, it's different if you're not feeling well, if you're ill. I had no excuse. I said, that's disrespectful. So we won't do that again because life is a gift. So live it to the fullest, make something happen, have a plan. Don't just let stuff happen. Like you're in charge, you know?
This is your life, right?
Right. Like I couldn't look around and blame it on anybody. Like this is on you, Nicole. Jazara, this is you. You did this. And so, hey. But one thing I read in this book that struck me, I don't know, I can't remember the title of the book or the author, but it was so good when I read it. It said most people enter adulthood emotionally deficient. I was like, ouch. Like you rang my doorbell, okay. But oh, I know who said this. Mel Robbins. I like her. She's motivational. She said the one thing about adulthood is that you don't learn as a child is that when you get to adulthood, you now have to parent yourself. And that's one of the biggest, most difficult tasks to do. I was like, yeah, she's right. And so I was like, your parenting skills suck that week.
You know, I put it like this: busy people. We most busy people. We speak a different language. So we multitask, but we understand what we're doing. It's those that
Yes.
what we're trying to get to are those that look at us and look at us like we're crazy. The problem is we're productive. If you've noticed some of my things I say on Facebook, to where it's really not the ones that are grinding, it's the ones outside the grind who try to slow you down. And I'm so glad I wasn't going to answer the question, but it'll be a silly question because there's no one slowing you down. And I am so happy about that.
Yeah. No. No. And my sister and I were talking about this um late last year, and we've talked about it a couple times this year. And we've made a lot of transitions. We've started some business ventures, some different things. And sometimes we've gotten and we've heard some things that were negative. I don't know. Yeah, I know you wouldn't because I'm looking you doing that now. But
Mhm.
it for people who are not. doing what they know they should be doing, and we don't always know that. When they see you doing what you're doing and you're happy doing what you're doing, and you sometimes you got to cut out some people.
Yes.
Everybody can't go with you on the journey. And it's not you being mean, but I think about Abraham from the Bible, and he went on that journey, and he took some people that shouldn't have been on the journey. He wasn't told to take some of those people. And so sometimes when you've known them for 20 years and you grew up with them, or they were this, whatever it is. I'm not speaking about anybody in particular, but you have some people that's been a part of your circle, but sometimes they're not meant to go any further on the journey than where they've been. And it's not you being mean, but it's, I got to get to where I'm going, and if you gonna slow me down or be sabotaging what I'm doing, no, you gotta go. This shall stop right here, you know. And sometimes we gotta be okay with telling people, I love you, I respect you, but this is my journey. And so I gotta keep going, because for me, when I know when I have to meet God and answer, I can't say, well, Kim didn't want to go. Kim said, because that's not going to fly. We are going to have to account for our gifts and our talents that we used or didn't use. And so, you know, I don't want to be up there. Well, you're not getting ready to make no excuses to God, but you know how we do. Well,
Oh,
I don't want
we'll
that to be
try
the
though.
case.
We'll try.
I don't want that to be the case.
Yeah.
I got something really funny to tell you too.
Hmm.
Um, we all have our gifts and our talents. I believe everybody has a gift, at least one. Some of us have more than one. And so there's this gospel song that I love to listen to. And so I talk to God like conversational style. And so I was saying, I wanted to sing the song, but I'm not a singer. And I said, well, you could have given me the gift of song, because I mean, I could really tear this up if I sing it, if I had that gift, but I don't. So, and so, and very politely and quietly, he said, but you got gifts and you don't operate and use them to the fullest. I was like, ouch. Like, okay, all right, I'm done talking to you now. Let me go. Let me go work with what you say I'm supposed to be working with. Every now and then, I'll be like, if I could sing, and he's like, and if you operated in this, but I'll be like, but I just, if I can hit that high note, but me and God talking conversation style. But one thing that I do believe he's probably like, I didn't give you that gift because you wouldn't operate in it and use it for what I want it to be. Because I do believe if I could sing, it'd be like, oh, y'all know I can sing, right? And if I was working a job and the boss, said something to me, and I am like, I'd be like, oh, I could be out there with Beyonce right now. So I would
Exactly.
probably be a hot mess. So probably
No.
why I don't have that gift. But I do believe we all have a gift, and some of us have more. We just have to operate in it, and it's it's the most fun thing operating in your gift, because I just get up and I have fun and I do what I do, and been blessed not to have to worry about certain things. It's coming a time that I know that people will, and they're doing it now, but more so will be like, hey, I need my own signature fragrance. How do I? And I'll be like, well, come on, let's go. What type of
Love it.
fragrances do you like? I've been blessed to be able to write in multiple genres, inspirational, I love urban fiction. I'm never gonna stop loving urban fiction. Write love stories, and I don't know. I probably have to answer the God for this, but God, you gave me this gift. I've I've ghost written people's college papers too. They were struggling in college and needed help.
Oh,
So
I'm going to give you no comment on it. I've I've done that. I have done that.
So I might have to answer for that one, but I was trying to help out some folks because they were having difficult times. But you know, I was really amazed. Like I wrote this one paper in heating, air conditioning, cooling. That is totally not my knowledge area, but I wrote it for a gentleman, and he got a B on the paper, and he said, "I can't believe you say you're such a great writer, and I got a B." You know, sir, you do know you had an F from jump. So if you jump too many levels up, I said, plus I had to write in your voice. I couldn't write in my voice. I had to use the terminology. Plus, I had to kind of mirror your writing skill. Like we came this was before Chat GPT. This was like in the late teens, 2015, 16, something like that. So Chat GPT and AI wasn't around writing papers like they are doing now. Well, I probably should stop before somebody does that.
Right, right.
I'm, I'm like, sir, you can have a perfect paper.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So my next question for you is being, you have so much going on. How can I get to know you to get either buy your books or get your fragrances, get help for my child? How can I get to know you on those levels?
Absolutely. On Facebook, I'm Nicole R. Bradley. On Instagram and TikTok, I am Nicole Bradley Campbell Co. And LinkedIn, I'm Nicole Bradley.
Okay.
Yeah, I tone it down on LinkedIn because I know where to act and how to conduct myself. Contrary to what a lot of people think. So on LinkedIn,
Right, right.
you get a more professional version of me.
Yes. You know what? I had to learn to tone down on LinkedIn too, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh man.
Yeah, but
So
I love helping people and assisting people when I can. Also, HD, I forgot to mention this, but this is very important now, and I think I need to mention it to help
mhm,
people. I also like helping people use other people's money to fund their dreams and their goals. And
mm,
so I have consults at IamNicoleBradley.com. A lot of people like to write or do certain things, and they're letting lack of finances stop them. I need to stop singing. But please reach out to me at IamNicoleBradley.com, and I will show you how you can use other people's money. And I'm not talking about maxing out your credit card or going to get a loan. We can get really creative, but just reach out and we can talk about it.
oh, I will definitely gonna put that out there on the screen as well. That's not a problem. So, my final question is: I normally give my authors the final word, give shout outs, words of wisdom. Everyone say the floor is yours.
Okay. My words of wisdom, which I think I shared last time when I was on the show, is live life to the fullest. That's what I would tell you. Live life to the fullest. Life is a gift. Sometimes sometimes as they say, life do be life, friend. I understand that. But live life to the fullest. I was listening to something earlier today, and it's all about perspective, how you choose to see things. Sometimes it's raining here in Orlando. It's hurricane season, but for me, I don't choose to focus on it's raining. I choose to focus on because I'm from the Midwest, and when it would rain, the rain would be cold.
Well, if I go out now, the rain is going to be warm. So I'm like, oh, it's raining and I
Mm,
get to get that warm rain on me. It's
I
about
love that.
perspective. It's about perspective. My plants are outside. I'm a plant mom. They're outside. They're getting the water, so I didn't have to remember to water them today. So it's all about perspective, how you want to look at it. I could complain, oh my goodness, it's raining. Okay, that's what it does during hurricane season. It rains. So are you going to complain about that, or are you going to find something good? It's all about what you choose to focus on in your perspective. I choose to focus on the good part. People complain all the time, but I choose to look at the good part of it. And so I would encourage people, when you get to that point where you're complaining all the time, see what you can find good in it.
Can't stand that group playing all the time. So I love that
So,
advice. Trust me.
yeah,
It's like either you're going to keep complaining and waste time, or you're going to find a solution for your issue.
find a solution. Yes. That's one of my favorite things. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Now, who wants to admit that they're the problem? I've done it a few times, not a whole lot of times, but yeah, it doesn't feel good to say I'm the problem, you
No.
know?
So
So don't be
now,
the problem, be the solution.
exactly. And again, if you go to IamNicoleBradley.com, going ahead and learn more about her candles, so much more. She has just have so much talent. You would love to get to know her. Now, when we come back, let's get to know her daughter, Halle Bradley, and let's see what type of future she's working on, as well as other things she's interested in. Stay tuned. When we say young talent, that's an understatement when we're talking about Halle Bradley. She's so multi-talented, and I mean, from a young kid, she came up. But like I said, I just interviewed her mother, who's multi-talented, so that doesn't fall far from the tree. So let's get to know this young talent before she went to college in this classic interview. Welcome back to the Author's Corner, and I've got a real treat for you. You know how always interviewing young people with talent that's going to sit up here and set us on fire, especially right now going into the next few years. I've got one of those talents right now, Halle Bradley. She's got. I interviewed her last year for the movie Christmas Time, in which she was a star, and we're going to be talking about all that. So, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I am doing great. So all this talent together. Tell me well, you know what? I'm just gonna say, this woman writes, she produces, she's acting, she's doing a little modeling. Well, I'm talking about. Tell me all that you do. Start with her.
Okay. So last year, right before my birthday, I got my first LLC. I I'm in honor society. I write, draw, act. I play my guitar every now and then. You can kind of see it behind me. I play video games. I have my own gaming channel, and I think I'm very diverse in what I do.
See, when you tell some people they talk too much, and she just did. Now I gotta ask about. Now I gotta ask to play me something. Now I gotta ask about the gaming channel. See, you talked a little too much there. Now I got a lot more to ask. But no, in all serious. So, how old were you when you first realized that you could do so much? How old were you, and what was that moment for you?
That's a good question. It didn't really click until I was in maybe seventh grade. So that's maybe 12, 13. So because when I was in seventh grade, or maybe sixth, that's when I started picking up musical instruments. And so then that's when it kind of hit me that I wasn't writing as much back then, but I did have this one story that I never did finish. But I was drawing and then I was playing instruments. And then I had that little bit of writing on the side. I wasn't into acting as much as I am now back then. So that kind of just came along. So it's been a
And
journey.
so that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So how did that blow up? Like, for example, I'm just gonna talk about everything individually first. How did that?
Mhm.
How did the writing blow up? What exactly got you started writing?
I started writing when I was in second grade. I had my first assignment to write a short story, and that kind of flourished from there. But I always liked storytelling from a young age. Acting was kind of there, but I never really focused on that. My mom, my sister, and I, like my family, we would be sitting in the kitchen cooking, and I would pretend to be this person trying to go steal a recipe from some other country or other state. And so then, as time progressed, we came up with a new story, and my mom, sister, and we'd be driving down this dark road, and we'd come up with this character named Old Man Jack, who could transform into all kinds of felines. So it's really been writing and storytelling has really been in me from a very young age.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm sorry, my phone was beeping. I was like, cut it off. Like, so, so you started writing. Have you managed to publish anything or write any screenplays or anything like that?
I haven't published anything, but I have a bunch of stories that are like, I have a bunch of ideas, and then I take radio and TV here in Gary at the Career Center. And so last year, I wrote maybe two or three little scripts. One was a Different Strokes reboot where it was less comedy and more kind of drama. And then the other two, I was given an assignment to write about something. And so I have those two.
I want to see a different strokes reboot. I would love to see something like that. You need to make that happen. I'm declaring that by next year you're gonna have that happen.
Well,
That's
we recorded it actually, and it's on one of my YouTube channels. Uh, I believe that channel is named The Gullible Dreamer. So you can find that, and it says Different Strokes Reboot. There's no special title to it or anything.
oh, see, that's awesome. So tell me about your YouTube channels. How did you start? What does your different YouTube channels represent?
So right now, I only have two different YouTube channels that I switch between. I have my gaming channel, which is Gaming with Gramos, and then I have kind of like a voiceover short film channel, which is The Gullible Dreamer. And I started YouTube back when I was in sixth grade. I always wanted to be a YouTuber, but way before that, I always wanted to start a gaming channel, but I never had the equipment to do that. So I kind of tried to do like reaction times and what was popular back then. I deleted those videos, so don't go looking for them. So that
That's
channel used to be called Mighty Bradley. My last name is Bradley, and I don't know how I came up with that name, but I remember the intro used to go, "What's up, guys? It's Mighty Bradley. Mighty, like the show Mighty Mad." And Bradley was is my last name, and so I kind of just put the two together. Mighty Mad was a show on Disney XD,
yes,
and
I remember. Oh yes.
yeah,
uh,
so that was that. And now that channel has become Gaming with Gramos, and now my intro is, "What's up, guys? It's Gramos." And I kind of got that from one of my favorite gaming channels. Well, actually, I kind of start with this weird noise now, and it goes, "Hey, what's up? It's Gramos." And so Uh, yeah, I've kind of been doing YouTube for a long time. At one point, I was trying to turn that channel into a, excuse me, into an art channel where I would just post speed paints and things that I draw on there. But then I was like, you know what? I can finally start my gaming channel, so let's go ahead and do it.
Oh, this is so awesome. So now I'm going to switch gears for a second. How did you get into acting? Because I've seen clips from Christmas time as well as other like little things. How did you get into acting?
Um, well, when I was young, I would used to do those like little playing with my family kind of thing. And I never realized that I actually liked acting. I just like pretending to be somebody else. And so around 2020, my mom had met James Gordon and he's an actor. And so, excuse me, I talked to him a little bit and that's how I got into Christmas time. And then after Christmas time, for a couple years I've realized I want to be a voice actor because people always tell me I have this like really soothing voice and I've always like playing different characters. So I was like, well, I think voice acting is what I want my career to be. And maybe a side hustle or a side career or something like that. And so that's kind of where acting comes from. I think I'd be more comfortable with voice acting. But yeah.
I'll tell you this real quick. This won't be a part of the interview. I'm gonna cut this part out. I used to work at a TV station, and we had a guy out of I was at a TV station in Arkansas. We had a guy that was based out of Arizona who would travel to different stations to do voiceover work, and he would make at least an easy 1,500 and a job. And all he had to do was get on the plane and go, and he was good. So just little stuff like that to think about, which is like really cool. You know, so my next question is gonna be, so I see an anime post in the background. So are you heavy into anime?
Um, I used to be heavy into anime. This behind me is Shira and the Princesses of Power, which is on
Yes.
Netflix. And so it's more that's a American animation, but I used to be into anime a lot. I used to have this friend who would always talk about Naruto. And so eventually I was like, well, let me see what this Naruto is about. And I was like, oh snap, this is good. So I kind of got into anime. I kind of fell off, but I have another friend who's like, "Hey, you want to watch this show with me?" And I was like, "Sure."
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So tell me, what is out of everything that you're doing, what is your favorite thing to do?
Right now, my favorite thing to do is write and draw. Those are like my two main things that I do now. So those have to be my favorite.
Awesome, awesome. Have you ever thought about graphic novels or anything? I can see you doing graphic novels.
I have a friend, an online friend, who would like some help with a graphic novel. So I think I could get into that.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So what projects do you have going on right now?
Right now, I have a fanfic. A lot of people knock fanfic, but it's actually really fun and it helps me develop myself as a writer. I have one story called I'll Keep You in a Frame, where one character is a bartender and the other one is a billionaire photographer who has this production company and things like that. So I'm having those two fall in love and just a little romance story. I'm also working on selling t-shirts for the class of 2023 as I am a graduating senior this year. Um, I'm working on starting up videography. I just posted a video on my Facebook the other day and on one of my TikTok accounts. Um, I don't know, I have a lot going on. It's kind of hard to keep track.
Oh, it's all good. But tell us about the t-shirts.
So I have two designs right now. I have it's in a Friends font and it says last episode or is it last season? Oh man. but it's in the French font and it has season 20, episode 23. And so a lot of people like that one. And then I have the Uno out design, which is the Uno cards, and it says, well, Uno out.
Dude, I love that. I love that. So with everything that you have going on, you still going to school and everything. How do you balance finishing school with everything that you do?
As busy as it sounds, it's really not that hard because I'm very good in my academics. So I managed to get that done very quickly. And so then once I come home, all I have to do is either look for scholarships and stuff like that, or I just sit down, draw or write, or maybe sometimes I feel like playing my guitar. So it's really not that hard. It's not being lazy that is the hard part.
That is a lot of exactly. It's like being still is that's the hardest part of all. It's like, yeah, what I feel like I should be doing something, but this chair is just so comfortable. I don't. So no, I truly understand that. I want to. I'm trying to fight the urge to ask you to play something, but before I even do that, tell me, how did you get into the guitar or music? Period.
When I went to a achievement center for from kindergarten to 7th grade. And so we had a lot of different things to do, like music class and art and things like that. You know, the basic schools, but a little more um, challenging. And so
Mhm.
music class was interesting. And at the time, my sister played the clarinet in the band. And so I kind of followed in her footsteps and I picked up the clarinet. And then she went on to the violin. I did not pick up violin. I don't trust myself with it. But eventually, when I got into kind of the end of my 8th grade year, I was starting to listen to music that had a lot of piano, guitar, and ukulele in it. And so I was like, I want a guitar. But then I thought it would be too much to just outright ask my mom for a guitar. So I was like, hey, mom, can I have a ukulele? And she didn't think I was serious. And so I kept begging her for it. And so she eventually got me a ukulele. And so once I got kind of good at the ukulele, I was like, all right, I'm going to ask for a guitar now. And that was only like maybe 5 months after I had the ukulele. So that Christmas, because I got the ukulele in like May or June of 2019. And so when December came around, I was like, hey, can I have a guitar? And so I got it. And it's how I got my lovely guitar. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I am going to fight the urge for a second because I want to get serious with you on a couple questions real quick. Um, First question is, you are highly talented, but you are also highly blessed because you have a mom that encourages you, it actually encourages the entire family. Not a lot of parents, like I encourage my children as well. Not a lot of parents have that, not a lot of kids have that support system like that. What is your opinion on something, in other words, children that have talent, but non-supportive parents or someone that will stifle their talents?
I think it's almost, I don't want to sound sad about it, but it's almost disappointing that what's supposed to be their support system isn't being that for them, because it'll make a lot of children and people stray away from their dreams. And I do feel blessed that my parents are like, hey, you want to go for that, go do it. But when you hear like stories where, oh yeah, my parents weren't as supportive of my decision to be a writer or an artist or a musician, it's like, sheesh, that makes their story more sentimental, and it shows that they've been through a lot. Even if they don't say like everything they've been through, that alone shows that they've been through a lot because they had to persevere in an environment where they're supposed to be loved and they're not exactly getting that.
Yeah, because I look at your mom when she posting pictures, or your page when you're posting pictures, and I'll see you when you wearing one of your T-shirts, or when you like I said when you doing the movie last year, when you was setting up for that. I just see a lot of things that you do, and I just love the fact that you have so much support from your parents and beyond. So like I say, we could just only, pray for those who don't. But thing is, which will lead me to my next question: what would, and I know you can't speak for everyone, but as a child of your talent, who I would say hypothetically would be going through that, how would you feel that they should push their talent through despite the non-support?
I think the internet is very large. There are a lot of apps where you can meet people who have the same passion as you and things like that. I think if your parents aren't that strict and you can have apps like that, download one of those apps, find a group, and kind of make them your happy place, even though your physical isn't that, like, it's not encouraging. Because although online is just as fun as it is dangerous, you can block out those people who have negative thoughts, because I have maybe two or three groups that I'm on this app called Discord. We all love art. Some of us like writing, some of us like playing music. And so we all kind of, when one of us comes to another and we're like, "Hey, I need some help with this or that," we all jump on the bandwagon and we're like, "All right, what do you need help with?" So there are people out there like that. And I've had someone, or I've read someone say, "You are not the only person with this idea. There are other people with the same ideas as you. You just need to find them." And so I think my advice to people who are going through situations where in their home they are not encouraged to follow their passion and dreams, there are other people out there just like you who need that support. Go find them. There are people who will help you. It's not the end of the world, even though it may feel like it. I promise you, there are people to help.
And actually, you just answered my next question. I was going to ask were there any support systems out there, and I love that. That is beautiful. So let's get back. Let's get back to you. Um, so here's my thing. I love music. I love writing songs. But but my weakness is I need to learn how to read music. How old were you when you first learned how to read music?
I was probably 5 or 6 because in music class, I had a teacher named Miss Hatcher, and she would teach us the treble clef and bass clef. I don't, to this day, I don't really know bass clef. I mostly know treble clef. And so I'm starting to get back into reading music because at school I'm joining the marching band again, so I have to know how to read the music. So some notes I'm looking at them like, so I have to get acquainted with it again. But I learned from an early age.
Awesome, awesome. Can I ask a quick favor? I'm sorry.
Yes,
I fought the urge as much as I could. Could you play a little something?
sure.
I don't care what it is. Just play something for us. Well, that's a nice guitar, by the way.
Thank you. Right now I've been learning No Time to Die by Billie Eilish, which won an award because it was
That
in
song.
the James Bond.
Yes.
Okay, I have to find the right note.
Oh,
Okay, here we go. Okay. And then I'm just learning the first verse. Trying to remember how to play it.
Oh, you sound. I mean, I'm loving this. You're good. You are good.
All right, we're changing songs.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Actually, we go on to our next question. You're all good. So how can we get to know you? How can we learn more about you? How can we support you?
I think the best way to get to know me would be to get the fun side of my personality. I think it would be my gaming channel because a lot of people see me as this calm to myself person, and I am, but the gaming channel is something different. You'll get to hear me yell a little bit and get my inner thoughts. Um, my writing, it depends on how you feel about fan fiction. You can uh you can find my fan fiction on this website called Archive of Our Own under literary grammos. Well, literary underscore grammos. I have not uploaded on that in a year, but I'm working on getting a different story out there. Uh TikTok, I don't really do much but skits, so that's not really getting to know me. Facebook, for the most part. I'm mostly on Facebook and YouTube, even though I scroll through TikTok a lot. That's probably the best way to get to know me.
Oh, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. So, one more serious question, and then we'll get down a couple last questions. Um, have you encountered any brick walls to your talent? In other words, have you encountered any haters, any situations, or have you what stops you, or what attempts to stop you?
I don't I don't think I get any hate. I think what stops me the most is when I feel like I'm not making progress in whatever I'm doing. I think that mostly happens with my art. Sometimes I'll look at something, I'm like, this just doesn't look right. And with my writing, sometimes writer's block is real as much as art block is. So anytime I experience that, that's really hard. But I don't really experience any hate. A lot of people, even when it comes to like posting my stories on AO3, a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is such an amazing story and I love the progress." That's very encouraging. But yeah, hate isn't something I get very often, which I'm grateful for.
I'm glad. I'm glad about that too. That is beautiful. So my next question is, where do you see yourself? Okay, you're graduating. So where do you see yourself? I will say at this time next year.
This time next year, I will be at Full Sail University in Florida pursuing my bachelor's degree in creative writing.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So that means we get a follow up interview from Full Sail, right?
Sure.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So this is the part of the show here where I always give my authors. Well, first, before I even do that, I want to shout out to your mom. I want to shout out. Well, I'm not gonna. You tell us about who your mom is. I interviewed her a couple of weeks ago, but you good? Yeah, but you tell me your mom. You go ahead.
Okay, so my mom, Nicole Bradley, better known as Jazara Bradley, is a award-winning author who has created Love of My Life, His Wife, Love. Hold on, I'm looking at the book right now. Love Don't Live Here Anymore. Uh, Chaotic Bliss. She has a bunch of stories. She is my writing inspiration when it comes to my writing style and sometimes the themes that happen in my stories. She is a very big influence to me, but she also does massage. She has her own business, Tranquil Bliss. She encourages me to be the entrepreneur that I am. And My mom is number one.
And the reason I did that because I know you are so proud of your mom and your mom's so proud of you. And every time I talk to one, and just like I just talked to you, you always shouting out each other. You always, I love that bond, and always, and I'm just encouraging you guys to always keep that bond. And it's so beautiful. So here's the part of the show I always give my authors the final word. They can give shout outs, they can give advice, they can talk about events, anything, whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
All right. Let's see. First of all, again, I want to shout out to my mom, also my dad, and the rest of my family, my sister, my cousins, everybody. I love you all so very, very much. Um, I have a lot going on. I'm getting into videography. I don't know when the next video will be uploaded, so don't be like, what's the next one? I don't know yet. Give me a moment. Um, I'm playing softball, so I'm getting conditioned for that. The shirts, the senior tees. If you are a senior, I have the t-shirts. They are only $25.
Like I said, like mother, like daughter. So I'm glad you got a chance to get both interviews. When we come back, I'll give you my 2 cents and then we'll wrap up. But first, take a look at what we're going to have next week in an all new episode, The Office. Welcome to AC's 2 Cents, the segment of the show where I give you a little bit of writing advice, a little bit of tutorials, and things like that, whether it be in the world of journalism, fiction, nonfiction, even writing papers. You never know. But today, I want to talk about a very important word that people have always been asking me about. The term is allegedly. And I hear a lot of people saying, why do news outlets, newspapers use the term allegedly? Even when it's situations like mass shooting, when you know the person did it. Well, the answer is simple. First, let me go over the definition of what allegedly actually means. It's used to convey that something is claimed to be the case or have taken place, although there is no proof. For example, he was allegedly leading participants in a coup attempt. Well, not going to get into politics on that one today, but, like I say, I digress. But allegedly is a legal term, especially in journalism. If someone does a crime, even if you know they've done it, journalists and media outlets are compelled to say, especially when we're giving out information, to say that they're alleged whatever crime they did up until the point that they're convicted. Because if we don't do that, let's say, I'll give you an example. I do know of a news outlet that did lose their license because there was a guy who was accused of rape. And they called him, and they kept calling him, they didn't say alleged rapist, they kept calling him rapist. He got off. He was acquitted. So he ended up suing the news station, and they end up suing the TV station. They end up losing their license. So, case in point, unless the person has been convicted, then you can call them whatever you want to. But until then, it has to be allegedly. Even if you saw them with, like, say, a mass shooting, you saw them shoot them, but he has to still be alleged because there could be a chance that he might be acquitted for whatever got off a reason. So that's a simple term. If you don't have any questions or you still want to talk to me, you can hit me up on Facebook or, send me a line here. But that's just my 2 cents. So next time I'll have a little something more lighter for you. And I'm also going to have a special coming up, a 2 cent special on characterization coming soon. So stay tuned for that. But me, Lacey Campbell, back to me. So this is why we use the word allegedly. So next time you'll see, even if the person actually did it, even if we witnessed them do it, that's why we use it. It's more of a legal thing. So no one's trying to gaslight us. No one's trying to push us into believing a fake narrative. It's all for legal purposes. Well, that's it for the Office Corner. Stay tuned next week when we have 2 more amazing authors. I might be outside, I might be right here in the studio. You never know. But I am going to do some more location shows like I used to. So stay tuned next week. Until then, peace, which I have done. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. God bless you.